Hello and welcome to Enlightened Empaths, your community for the spiritually awakened, where we discuss, explore, and connect with fellow empaths, healers, intuitives, and seekers. Hello, empaths. Welcome to our monthly Community Connections show. It's one of our favorites to do each month because we get to hear from you and feel as though we really are sitting around a table together, just chatting and sharing stories and questions.
And I want to just say something as kind of a disclaimer is that we try to provide a really wide range of interests and guests and opportunities for people to expand their own consciousness, or however you want to word that. And sometimes there may be a show or a person that doesn't resonate with you, or one that really does. So we're doing our best to try to reach the wide range of listeners that we have.
Yes, well said. But we are, getting ready to go through, or might already be in by the time this comes out, our Mercury retrograde right before the holidays. So there might be some miscommunications along those attempts.
That's right. But we'll keep showing up with a smile, and we'll find some humor in it, because we always do. And I love that.
Exactly. All right. Do you want to start us off?
I do. Okay. So someone is saying thank you, and they love the show. Well, we love the show too. So thank you very much. About 2 years ago, I received my first Reiki attunement. The winter, I spent at least one day per week walking along the beach. One day I found a hagstone, and it felt so special I had to look it up. I must have found over 25 hagstones that winter. Wow. I found a rather large one that fit in the palm of my hand. I went home and meditated with it, and when I did, I felt instructions to stand up. Through my mind's eye, I saw angel wings forming on my arms in black and white. I was then instructed to move my arms towards my heart and then back out again. I felt my arms turn fully into wings. This was the first time I'd ever felt instruction during a meditation and seen angel wings. Strangely, I have not found a single hagstone since that winter. So I think, and thank you, and maybe doing a discussion on this, but that's very interesting, isn't it?
That really is. I mean, hagstones are sometimes called fairy stones, and it's said that if you peer through the hole of a hagstone on a full moon, it will help you connect with the fairy realm. I haven't read anything, doesn't mean, that's all there is to know about hagstones, but I haven't seen a connection to angels, which is interesting. I have felt an instruction when I've been meditating, but it's usually like I'll get an insight like, oh, it's time to do a chakra cleansing. We need to spend our time today working on your chakras. Or I'll get a feeling or a message that I need to work on a cord cutting. But nothing like to stand up and see myself full form wings. I think that's pretty fascinating.
And to find 25 over the course of that seems like, and then to never find another one.
Yeah, that's definitely a message.
Yeah. And, were the hagstones that were being placed there a message from spirit? And I think so.
I definitely think so. That she is definitely, or he, I'm not sure who wrote this, is definitely on a very powerful spiritual awakening. And these can often happen, these beautiful awakenings, right after we get introduced to Reiki and all of that beautiful spiritual aspect of our being. So that's a beautiful thing. But also, I think it's important to consider what that means with the black and white wings and the angel. Deb and I on my other podcast just did a show on the Cathars because we had done a show on the Gnostics. So people had asked us to continue. And the Gnostics and the Cathars believe that we all have a spark of God not trapped inside of us, but, part of the creator. That energy is inside of us. And one group or several groups of the Cathars believed that we were angels inside of these human bodies. And that was one of the first times I'd ever seen a branch of Christianity that said something like that.
Well, that's very, very fascinating. And you're right. The fact that this person just had their first Reiki attunement and then that happened, I would think there would be a correlation. I hope the person continued with their Reiki.
I keep going back to the black and white, though. It's almost like she's being asked to balance the sides of herself in the spiritual awakening before she can fly.
That's really an excellent point, because there's more color. Several folks I've spoken with, and myself as well, in meditation, color seems to be playing more of a significant role. And you can get into the, oh, it's very black and white. Is this person looking at a situation in their life as very black and white?
Yes, exactly. And moving beyond that.
Right.
Okay, our next one says, a couple of days after it was released, I sat down in the evening to listen to Enlightened Empaths while piecing a puzzle and opened up to the latest episode, Reviving Your Spark. As your words came out, I felt a total sense of awe and disbelief. Not only were you responding to my email, but you dedicated a whole episode to it. To say I felt honored is an understatement. Most importantly, I felt like I was finally hearing an answer from the chasm, a helpful, gentle, thorough answer from two people who get it. A response that can finally truly make a difference and give me the guidance and support I've needed for so long. I hope you know that my delay in writing has only been for a deep and thorough look at every word you said and how it all connected with my soul. Since listening to your episode again and again and again, soaking in every idea, taking notes and reflecting, I have felt some subtle shifts that I want to share with you. I hope you don't mind the length of this email, but I want you to know how much your generous time and care is impacting me and setting into motion my way forward. You are helping me relax and recognize so much. So before I continue, Denise, just to remind listeners, this was the episode we did back in September, I believe.
Yes.
Based on the listener's email saying that she felt she had lost her spark. So she continues, as with nearly everything from this podcast episode, I resonated when you said, it's really hard when you're used to being one way in the world, and you don't have to be that way anymore. You don't really know what to do. We have all those moments where we say, I don't know how to be in this way. Well, she says, I am in this space. I don't have to handle it all anymore. I can set so many things down now, and it's okay to. Others can help now. Others will still love me if I receive. Life is good. I just need to learn how to be in this way. You're right. I never really felt in my heart any self-acknowledgement for how much I carried for those around me, and I never felt in my heart the expansively positive impact I've made. If I truly felt that, I'll honor myself with the time to float down the river and allow that time to be commensurate with what I've worked through. For the longest time, I've resisted giving myself this permission, wrestling with the feelings of stagnation or the thought, something's wrong with me for feeling this depleted. You told me it's normal, and that message created space, like a breath of air within me. It's normal to be sparkless, because I do think I'm dealing with soul burnout. By saying, maybe she doesn't have to be the light for herself right now, you took the pressure off what I was putting on myself. My whole cognizant life, I've had a mindset, if I can, then I should. Ooh, I resonate with that too, don't you, Denise?
Me too, yes.
That really stands out. I've been all too happy to give from the very depths of me till there's nothing left. And while noble, I have to learn how to truly receive what I need too. I have to because the healthy me whom I've built requires this skill to be upheld. I've spent so much time mournfully looking back at the old Pollyanna Joan of Arc me, wondering what happened to her, all the while not realizing that the boundaried, self-loving woman I see in the mirror today exists because of her. That's powerful.
Very much so.
Okay, the vacant space where nature used to be is now filled with people because I have created a life full of people who give me the support I used to only get from nature. I miss that spiritual bond with nature, but I trust it is there for me to call upon if I ever need. Now I have what I probably needed most. Because I work so hard to achieve the quality of relationships I have today, I am no longer alone in that deepest sense of the word. While I feel out of touch for not having the same language with spirit, if I stop looking back and recognize the here and now, I will see that a whole new language has unfolded, one that answers questions through dreams and tells me of the many layers within people whom I meet. Maybe I don't feel joy because I haven't had the freedom to access it for many years. Well, I granted my life that freedom, so now I must free my heart. So much of that comes down to trust, trusting life, trusting the people I put in it, trusting myself. I have every reason to, I just have to let go. You said, like anything in life, when you chase it, it runs further away. The same goes for getting your spark back. I think this is spot on. The stress I felt over losing my spark for so long has pushed it further away from me. So I'm going to have faith that it will come. Faith with a little bit of action. This fall and winter, while I'm tucking in and resting my weary spirit, I'm going to be there for myself the way I've been there for others. I'll make friends with the voice of self-judgment that shut the doorway to my joy for creativity 25 years ago. I will learn to hear what my needs and desires are through the noise of shoulds and shouldn'ts. I'll practice self-care consistently and as needed, not just when I remember to. I'm going to break the habit of taking everything on, or else everything will always be on me. I'll get committed to identifying what support I need from loved ones and inviting those needs to be met without fear or guilt. It's possible then that my body may heal from the tension it has carried and stop speaking to me through shoulder pain and migraines. This will take practice. It won't always be comfortable, but because all I have done thus far in acknowledging it heart-wise, I know I can do this with time and grace and love. Thank you for all the astute and loving ideas you shared with me. From the bottom of my heart and soul, thank you for helping me. Thank you for encouraging me to be gentle with myself, to bear loving witness to my transformation of healing and letting it be my turn. Thank you for making me feel normal with the ebb and flow of connection with spirit and trust it will all come back stronger. And thank you for helping me understand that I can't push the river of my own healing time, for recognizing that I need to find a way to give myself some credit heart-wise and encouraging me to receive, and suggesting that entering fall and winter, I should just tuck in and focus on small, simple steps that nurture my soul and to find little sparks. Thank you for seeing and understanding me deeply. And thank you for handling my messy, vulnerable email with such dignity and love. Oh, that is so beautiful. What a beautiful email.
It is a beautiful email, and I think it's so important. Thank you to this person for sending it in and for articulating so well an important topic that so many people are struggling with right now, which is receiving, trusting, reconnecting with their spirit the way that it works for them. So it's an incredible gift to all of us.
It really, really is. And I think sometimes we carry that stress without realizing we're carrying it. Like, she just seems very tuned in to herself. And I think
Yes.
many of us can kind of just focus on our to-do list and, what has to be done on the surface. And we're not even aware that that's happening, that we're not allowing ourselves to receive. I think I shared this with you privately, Denise, but a couple of months ago, I was just standing in the kitchen. It was like 4:00, and I had to go to the vet and pick up meds for my cat. I had to go to the post office and drop my packages off to be mailed before 5:00. And I had one other errand. And then I had to be ready for an event we had at 6 p.m. And I was just standing in the kitchen with my packages and my little prescription for Sabrina. And I'm just like thinking, how am I going to do all this and come home and shower and get ready for this dinner thing? That's just that moment. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of stress, but it was just this thing. And Michael came out and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just trying to figure out a time thing in my head. I got to do this, 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 and this." And he said, "I'll take care of it."
Oh.
And I burst into tears. And I'm not a crier. Have you ever seen me cry?
I think once I saw a tear.
Okay. And I didn't know I was feeling that. And I'm sure, poor guy, he looked at me like, did I do something wrong? And I was like, I don't think anyone's ever said that to me. I'll take care of it. It was just like, gosh, I really have been carrying all this by myself for so long, wasn't even aware of it. And so I think when we do make that time, as she was saying, to recognize what we've been carrying and then to give ourselves permission to say, yeah, you take some of this off my shoulders. I'm no longer Atlas.
And it's a beautiful tribute to how much personal work you've done to be able to accept someone offering that.
Yeah, because that's hard too. How do you get there?
True.
That's not an overnight thing. Don't you agree?
I wouldn't know anything about that.
We'll read your email next month, Denise.
Okay. Our next one says, one Sunday afternoon, my two sisters and I were at my parents' house for a little family gathering. After everyone was done eating, my sisters and I joined my mom out on the back deck to sit and chat around the table, which was shaded under an umbrella. Although we all live fairly close to each other, we don't often have all three sisters together, but when we do, there are always laughs to be had. We had taken a trip down memory lane, and the topic of discussion was my mom leaving a cross over my youngest sister Carly's bedroom door and frequently clearing out the energy of her room because of the rebellious things that she was up to. This led into a story of Carly using tarot cards and Ouija boards. Carly was telling my mom that there was never any ill intent or bad energy that my mom had to worry about. My mom reminded us that she was raised Catholic, and those things are where she crossed the line. We were laughing so hard, making jokes and wisecracks about this energy and the weird things my parents have done in the name of religion. Out of nowhere, a light breeze softly picked up the umbrella from the middle of the table. As it floated up, we all gasped, couldn't believe our eyes, and we laughed our asses off so hard. The umbrella seemed to be floating in slow motion. I reached up and caught it. Through tears and laughter, we continued to joke. See, Mom, this is the energy we bring. It's all good. It's here now, and it's not going anywhere. See, a big gust didn't come and move the umbrella. A soft wind came and moved the umbrella.
The Holy Spirit came and moved that umbrella. That is awesome. I just saw a thing on my social media feed. Chicken Soup for the Soul is collecting funny, lighthearted stories. I think she should send this one in.
Well, this is fun. And just, when they're together, they laugh, they have fun. There's no anger about the Catholicism or the religion or the beliefs. It's more done in fun and heart and love. And I think that's a big key.
I do too. But don't you wish that could have happened to you? Like when you were telling people, yeah, I'm kind of like doing tarot readings now. And they were like, oh, that's the devil's work. Those are the devil's playing cards. Don't you wish something magical could have happened, like an umbrella or a pencil lifting off the table?
Yeah. Well, they probably would have really shut us out. See,
True.
it's
We'd be in the stockade in the center of town.
No, but that's very fun. And it's also, I love that, trying to clear the room for the rebellious things she was up to. So what's interesting is the mother must have had some juju to be even considering clearing the room. Even though she was doing it with a cross, it's still the same difference, same energy, right?
Yep.
So fun.
I love that. All right, our next one says, I was reading this fascinating article about Venford Hall, a mansion that is being restored that celebrates and respects all the ghosts that come and go. They have tours and tarot classes and other events. When I was reading about this haunted mansion, a question popped into my head. If someone is a ghost, can they reincarnate again into a new life? Or as a ghost, are they stopped from reincarnating by being stuck on Earth as a ghost and can only reincarnate after they go into the light? If ghosts can reincarnate, I think it would be fascinating if you visited a haunted house and discovered that one of your past lives was that ghost in that house. Well, that is interesting. Okay, so I have very strong opinions on this, but obviously these are just my opinions. I believe that ghosts cannot reincarnate because they are stopped. They aren't where they're supposed to be. They are no longer living, but they have not gone into the light. So they are stuck between two worlds. And so they can't reincarnate because you have to be on the other side, the other dimension, to go through the whole process, the Hall of Records, the life review, the creating your soul plan. They can't do any of that until they go through the light. Now, I don't think that every haunting is a conscious ghost. There is the stone tape theory, right? Where if a very traumatic or dramatic event happens, that event gets kind of embedded into the walls of that home. So if every day, your father came home and slammed the door and marched up the stairs to go into the bathroom, maybe after he dies, the energy is just a tape, a recording of him stomping up those steps. It doesn't mean he's actually there haunting that house.
And I think that is relevant too when the land or an area holds the energy of what happened there. It doesn't always mean that there are trapped human spirits there. It's the energy of the earth that's still working through the trauma, the grief, the war, the famine, whatever it might be.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that could be something to think about. But I mean, I do think you could visit a home that's haunted and you could still have a past life connection to it, but I don't think it would be a ghost.
Right.
You know,
And okay, just to go a little bit, like a little woo, because the question was, if ghosts can reincarnate, would it be fascinating if you visited a haunted house? Could you be picking up on an imprint of who you were in another life, and it's not really that you're a ghost?
yes, that's what I was trying to say. You said it
Okay.
way more eloquently and succinctly. Thank you. Yeah, so she did put the link, it's gildedage.org. I need to look that up because I would love to go to a gilded mansion and take a tarot class. Road trip,
Oh,
that would be amazing. But yeah, you know, I heard one psychic medium say years ago that eventually all ghosts that are consciously stuck are brought into the light. And she said that's why you very rarely hear about ancient Roman ghost or, you know, second century ghost. They're usually from the 1500s to today because it takes some ghosts are very stubborn and it takes a long time for them to let go of whatever it is that's keeping them stuck. But I thought that was interesting to think about. You really don't see like, oh, I died in the bubonic plague in the 1300s and I'm still pissed about it. Like you don't see those ghost stories really.
no. And, I would wonder, because we've had conversations about a piece of your soul light stays on the other side, but as an anchor to spirit, whatever, however we described it in the past. But I agree with you. I don't see how you could reincarnate into another form if you hadn't self-actualized back into spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh. It's a lot to think about.
It is.
Big old rabbit hole. This next one comes from the Netherlands, and there's something I'd like to share. In your last podcast, you spoke about the dream visitation, where the cousin pointed at the place where the transformation happens. You were discussing it and mentioned you still needed a good name for this place. Made me think of one of my new favorite music albums in 2025 by Anthony, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this, so I'm going to spell it Smierek. Oh my goodness. Smierek.
Smyrek?
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 Yeah. So it's called, so you at least you can give it a good Google or a YouTube. It's called Service Station at the End of the Universe. That would be my suggestion. Oh, I love that. So when you're in that place of transformation, calling it a service station at the end of the universe. And she goes on to say that the album is a combination of danceable music and spoken word. And from the lyrics, it's clear to me that the artist has his own connection with the other side. Various remarks are weaved into lyrics about daily life. It's quite remarkable. And I think that music for many people, especially if they're clairaudient, you'll pick up on those messages that are coming through in a way that can really, really resonate as a psychic message.
Oh, for sure. I think that's one of the best ways, especially for clairaudient people to get messages.
Yes, and when you think about, I was listening to music the other day, and with everything the way it is now, podcasts and feeds and this and that, people don't listen to music the same as they used to for a lot of folks. I'm not saying everyone. And I think that there's a lot, we're missing a lot by not getting lost in music or listening to something new or paying attention to old lyrics that really resonated with us. I think it's a huge healer.
I do too. I just checked on Spotify and you can find it there.
Oh, good. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, our next one says, Samantha, could you recommend a reputable seller of crystals online? Well, we get that question a lot. I usually recommend exquisitecrystals.com. I've ordered from them for decades and I've never had a problem. I've heard about them through Judy Hall, who wrote the Crystal Bible, and she always recommended them. And so I trusted her and I've never been disappointed. But there are so many, so I hate to leave others out. But that's always my go-to. Do
Yes.
you have any go-to ones?
Uh, no, because I play it by feel, and if a crystal's like, "Ooh, that's the one," or the energy, or someone comes to my mind when I see it, so I don't really, I really like to go support small businesses in local places if I can.
Yes, me too. That's always my first stop. But if there's like an unusual crystal I'm looking for, I have bought from a seller many times on eBay. And what I'll do is I'll message them questions about the crystal. And if they don't really know how to answer, then I might be a little suspicious. So just, do your homework and dig. But I think Exquisite Crystals is great.
Great, perfect. Uh, the next one, my husband and I were on a short road trip to Lake Chelan, Washington, and decided to take a shorter route. As we drove through a flat, desolate area with rundown homes, I started to feel a lot of anxiety and emotion, like I might cry if I spoke. Even our dog was more anxious, pacing and panting more than usual. At one point, I thought, if I had to live here, I'd want to kill myself. I'm not suicidal at all. It was just a thought that popped into my head, which felt so strange. My husband even offered to turn back, but I told him to keep going. Once we got into more mountainous scenery, my anxiety eased up and I started to feel like myself again. I did some clearing phrases afterward, which may have helped. And there are some very destitute, desolate places that have that energy. And you wonder, is it because of abject poverty? Is it because of heinous things that happened on the land? Is it because people have been beaten down from a lack of will because it's been so difficult for so many years? But I think honoring that, and for me, when I do go through places like that, I try to channel light or send a healing light over that area or ask spirit to come closer for them. But
Yes.
it's a very real thing.
It is a very real thing. We had a listener email us. She and her husband and their son had found a remote fishing spot by their house. And her husband and her son loved this remote fishing spot, and she felt creeped out as anything every time she was there, to the point where she didn't want to go there. And she thought she was, being silly or too sensitive. And she did some research, and there were so many drownings in that one spot through the decades. And she was asking, do you think I was picking up on the sadness and loss of those tragedies? And yes, I do. And I think that's why it's so important to recognize that you're an empath and recognize that you do have this super sensitivity. And that's why it's so important to do your psychic protection every day before you leave the house.
Very much so. And,
You
and
know,
to honor it. And I love that this person's partner offered to turn around, say, you know what, is it too much for you? That I think is so, so important, is to have people that support your sensitivity.
I wonder if that is near where the Watchers have been located in Washington. Have you heard about them?
Oh, yes, we talked about them at
Yeah,
one
yeah.
point.
I
Ooh,
wonder if it's near there.
I'm not sure.
Doo 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 doo. All right. This one says this one's a little bit long, but it really touched our heart because it shows how patiently spirit works with us until we're ready to do the work. So this listener says, I'm writing to thank you for your guidance and tell you a little of my journey and the profound way your books have nudged me along. I feel compelled to tell you the arc of my journey along with a couple of specific moments with your books. My aunt passed away 2 years ago. She helped raise me and was the matriarch in our family. We were all devastated. I experienced an intense whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, and I could not keep track of time. I didn't know if a minute or an hour had passed. I was on overdrive. I was doing everything for everyone 24/7. Then, 2 weeks after her death, a heavy wooden bench fell on my foot and stopped me in my tracks. It changed me physically to this day and initiated my spiritual journey. I spent 6 weeks in bed nursing my foot and 6 more months in physical therapy, praying I wouldn't need surgery, praying I would regain feeling in my toes, praying I would walk normally on it again. All my prayers came true, and I started seeing 11s every hour on the hour, starting the moment I woke up at 6:11 until the moment I fell asleep. I also saw triple digits always on the clock. At times, I had the sense that my angels were mocking me. I was angry. I did not want to heed their call. This persisted for a long while. I began having intense dreams and told a friend about some of them. I told her that I felt like they were really happening. She told me that they probably were and suggested I read your book, The Awake Dreamer. I did, and as I listened to the audiobook, I remained skeptical and unyielding. But I listened on. Then one night you spoke of a sort of tree of life and an attempt to gain access to it through a shortcut. The keeper of the shortcut asked if you'd like to enter, and when you said yes, he told you you did not deserve it. After that, you began the hard work of daily meditation. Yeah, that dream still pisses me off, Denise, because I was there, I was looking at this beautiful tree of life. It was bigger than you could imagine it being big. And this little old man, and he looked so kind, he said, if you follow me around to the side of the tree, I can show you a shortcut. And I was like, heck yeah. And I said, yes, that would be lovely. Thank you. And he said, he shook his head very sadly and mockingly, like, I knew it. And he said, no, then you're not ready. Oh, it made me so mad because he was right. Anyway, she says, listening to that section of the book took my breath away. The work that lay ahead of me suddenly illuminated, but I still didn't want it. I told myself if I look at the clock and it's a normal old number, I will put it all away and carry on with my life. And if it's my angel number, I will make the commitment to myself to meditate daily. I flipped my phone over and it was 11:11. Crap. What were the chances? So I began daily meditation and it was intense. I felt overwhelmed, sometimes scared, out of control, not a feeling I like. I'd close my eyes and almost instantly melt into pure whiteness. Spirits came and I felt like they were drowning me, bombarding me with just too much. Within 2 weeks, I fell very ill. I had a high fever and body pain for a week. In my fever haze, I had an awake dream where I was sitting on a bench and my aunt came and sat next to me. Between us was a basket. We could not talk, but she looked at me and she pushed the basket to me. Inside the basket was my inner child. Wow. She was hurt, lonely, confused, and felt abandoned. I knew that I needed to hold her and love her and heal her. I knew that my aunt had a part in hurting her and that she was so deeply sorry for it. She urged me further down this path, something she would have shunned while alive. When I came through my illness, I shut it all down. It was just too much too fast. I spent a few months trying to live more consciously. I stopped drinking alcohol. I stopped drinking coffee. I lost 10 pounds. I started to enjoy my life a little more. I also started taking mediumship classes, meditating with purpose, and using new tools you and others have taught me. I made time for it each day, even if with caution. Even so, I still felt a resistance, a fear, a desire to run. I've recently listened to your book, Heavenly Lions, and have learned so much from it. One coincidence in particular deeply affected me, and I'd like to share it with you. I got my first tarot deck a few weeks ago. At first, I was just trying to understand what the cards meant. I was pulling cards with my son and using ChatGPT to help us analyze them. I settled into a more meditative card pulling routine for a few days, and for 4 days in a row, I pulled the Tower card. I read online as much as I could about what that might mean. Nothing I read resonated with me. The next day, I was listening to the part in your book where you talk about spiritual awakening as the hero's journey. At the point in the journey where you fall into the depths of despair and you are down on your knees begging, just as that moment, coincidences can show you the way. You said that the Tower card represents this stage of the hero's journey and explained how. Everything clicked. A deep, surging pain surfaced, and I sat with it and I wrote and wrote. I am not in the clear, but I can see the light now. Thank you for helping me along and teaching me. Wow. That's just, what do I say, Denise? That's beautiful. And I'm not taking any part in your beautiful spiritual journey. I thank you for reading my books and commenting the way you beautifully have. But my dear listener, this is all you and all of your hard work. And I think it's a beautiful thing that you were able to say to yourself and your team, this is too much. This is too intense. I think that's important. Like our earlier listener had said, if it's too much for you, it's okay to say, I need to take time with this. We have to set boundaries with ourselves and our spiritual team as much as we need to set boundaries with people in our daily life. And so if you are going through the spiritual awakening, Just because you can doesn't mean you have to, you know? And you can walk through that door, you can tiptoe through that door, you can peek through that door and then close it back up. That door and what awaits beyond it is always going to be there for you. You know why? Because it's your door. And what waits beyond it is your next chapter. And it's not going anywhere. So there's no need to run through it. And so I really like that she took her time with all of this and did it when she was ready at her pace and in her unique way. I think that's beautiful and shows a lot of self-respect.
Very, very well said. And interesting as well that physically she was incapacitated. Spirit said, okay, enough. We're going to, and I do think sometimes when we have something that debilitates us or holds us back, and I'm not making it that, we do it to ourselves, but it would be interesting to know if it was her left or her right foot. Was it masculine? Was it feminine? Was it, moving? But feet are about moving forward, moving in a new direction. And then to have that time in, 6 weeks in bed and 6 months in physical therapy, that's a long time. And then all of a sudden to have these doors start to open, but equally, the way it was written, that just mentioned a dream to a friend who mentioned your book, that's spirit at play.
And that image in the dream of her aunt bringing herself as a little child in that basket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about Moses in the basket. I mean, that's so rich with symbolism. And the
Right.
aunt being given this opportunity to apologize to her. Not only did that help our listener, but you've got to understand that our loved ones on the other side are healing themselves. They're trying to work through their regrets and their missteps in their life. And so when they're able to come to us and ask for that forgiveness, that's such a big gift we can give them.
And bringing back that inner child, that little person, is, if there was any kind of an age frame, is it a spontaneous soul retrieval where all of this started when that little person was that age? And to bring her back and reintegrate her into your life now, that healing happens there as well.
Yes. And I just have to give a little shout out to her guides and angels, because our spiritual team people, they have so much patience. I mean, how many of you listening right now can resonate with what she's saying? But really, I mean, I know for me, there were many calls to leave the ordinary world, as Joseph Campbell would say. And I ignored those calls. I was like, no, no, no. My ordinary world is very ordinary and safe and normal, and I know what it is. I don't need to peek through that door. Thank you very much. And they had to come up with unique and different ways each time to nudge me closer to that door, to take that leap of faith. But that takes so much patience and love.
But you made a really good point a minute ago, in that the door doesn't close. It might swing a little bit closer and it might not be as wide open, but if it's work you're meant to do or something you're meant to experiencing, I know from personal experience, and from your life, that it will come back around.
Yes. Yes.
And
What's meant to be will find a way for you. That is true.
right. But it also is choice and free will whether or not you choose to pursue it. If just because it shows up, it doesn't mean you have to.
Yes.
And I think that some people think, oh, I'm getting all this. I spoke with someone recently, and very intuitive. And she said, but I don't want to do anything with it. I just want to enjoy it. And I said, that makes you an incredibly lucky person.
Yeah. You're right, though. I mean, just enjoy it. You don't have to do something with it. You don't have to,
No.
always be thinking, what is my purpose? What is my point of service? It's okay to just focus on yourself.
That was a conversation I had with someone recently who has done an admirable amount of personal work. I've known this person for quite a few years, through readings, through other connections. And the person said, I think I need to take a break from working on myself and just enjoy being here. And I said, I think that is the best way to look at things right now. Because yes, we're always going to continue to grow and evolve and learn and find a new realm and a new frequency and all that stuff. But sometimes we just have to enjoy being here.
Yes. I mean, this might be an unpopular opinion, but it's just popping into my head. Tell me what you think. If I were someone's spirit guide and my person was very hurt or had some unresolved trauma or some childhood healing they need to do. And instead, she was focused on saving the world and cooking 20 meals for the homeless every week. I would rather she didn't do that and spent that time and energy focusing on the inner healing work,
Right.
because that's how we're going to light up the world, is by healing the roots inside of us. Do you know what I mean? And then she can go feed the whole, you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
like,
And I think it can be both, but you're spot on that you never could give from your fullest if you haven't done your own personal work, or if you're not continuing to address your own personal work.
you're like my verbal editor this show. I love it. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. I was on vacation too long, Denise. I've lost words. But yeah, you know those people who feel like they're doing the work because they're doing everything for everyone? I think that's so admirable and great. But not if you're not giving that same amount of light and healing and love to yourself. Then it's not going to stick.
And even if it's just a few minutes, or it's a longer shower, not talking about wasting precious water, but just some time where you have a few minutes to yourself. Because for some people, it is starting at that level of, I took 5 minutes for myself, or I stopped and enjoyed the sunset before I went in to take care of my person in the nursing home. Or I mean, it can be a little tiny step that's going to make a difference as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the goal, though, is to get to the place where I hope that we can treat ourselves with as much kindness and respect and dignity that we give to other people.
Me too. And that is what's going to heal the world.
100%.
Yeah. Wow. Well, these were beautiful questions and stories. Thank you guys so much for taking time to send them in. We really, really appreciate it. I mean, I think our listeners all should write books. They're great writers, aren't they?
They really are.
Really, really
They've
well told stories. If you want to send in a story or a question for our community connection show, please email us enlightenedempaths@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at Enlightened Empaths as well. And we would love it if you would take a minute to review our show on Apple or Spotify. You can leave comments on the show, or you can just go to Apple and leave a general review of our show. It really does help people find us, and we would greatly appreciate that support. Check out our offerings and other work at our websites, thegratefulmessenger.com and samanthafay.com. In the meantime, have a beautiful week connecting not only with nature and the beautiful fall season all around us, but especially with yourself. And just, at least, if you do nothing else after listening to this, commit to spending 5 minutes today saying lovely, beautiful, kind things to yourself about yourself. Remember, as always, to show up, do great work, and share your light with yourself too.
Take care.